Hello everyone, it's Imran here. Welcome back to another video. So, as you can tell, this is my today is my 300th overall video to this channel. I know, who cares about me, about milestone and video milestones. I mean, I do. So this is my 300th overall video that I'm uploading to this channel. And I decided for this 300th video, I'm going to react to another audio story by Kiefer Adams. Yes, you heard it right there. I'm going to react to the final story in series 3 of Kiefer Adams Thomas and Friends audio stories. The final story that was uploaded a month ago on April 30th, and this one is called Percy and the Starlight Express. So yeah, I have reacted to all the previous series 3 audio stories so far. I can't remember the last Thomas audio story I reacted to from Kiefer, but I'll make sure I'll put it in the top right hand corner of your screen if any of you are interested. If I do remember, it will be in the top, like I said, it'll be in the top right hand corner of your screen. And yeah, so I think this will be the last video I do today. I mean, I know it's kind of disappointing that I've only uploaded 2 videos today, but I actually have a family member that's literally come round just now, so I decided, you know what, I already did, the SMG4 video I reacted to just now, so I was like, you know what, why don't we just wrap up series 3 of Kiefer Adams, Thomas and Friends audio stories, because Kiefer has expressed his gratefulness for me to react to it. Like I said, he made basically a whole playlist of me reacting to all of his series 3 audio stories. So if you want to go check that out, it will be in the save playlist section on my channel. So huge shout out to Kiefer for it. It really means a whole lot to me, and I really have enjoyed series 3 of his audio stories. Probably my favorite season of his audio stories so far, out of series 1, 2, and 3. And now we get to end it off with Percy and the Starlight Express. So I wonder what this story is going to be about. I know Kiefer said that is based off a Starlight Express musical, which is one of his favorites. So let's see how he interpreted it in Thomas. Links to the video I'm reacting to in the description down below as always. So without further ado, let's get straight into this, and hopefully this will be a good 300 video,
Percy and the Starlight Express. Written and told by Kiefer Adams. Inspired by the musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Oh, so that's who it is.
Christmas had come and gone on the island of Sodor, and Mrs. Kindly had returned to her cottage feeling much better after a wonderful celebration.
Oh,
Percy the small engine continued his work during the spring and was very happy indeed. Sometimes Percy would often meet up with Edward at the yards of Tidmouth.
So this is kind of a sequel to Thomas's Christmas party
near the big station. Whenever he could, Edward would tell Percy all sorts of stories, which he had shared with the other engines before Percy had arrived on Sodor.
Really?
Percy's favourite was about an engine called the Starlight Express.
Oh,
according to Edward,
that's quite interesting right there. The engine right there.
The engine was a long, sleek and silver tender engine which only travelled at night. It would only be heard through its loud, echoing whistle, and you could tell it was approaching its destination with its bright, shining headlamp. Percy hoped that one day he would get his chance to find such an elegant and extraordinary engine.
Well, I hope so
but
too.
Some of the other engines thought Percy was being very silly indeed. Of all the engines of the Fat Controller's Railway, I did not expect you to be the most gullible, Percy, Thomas grumbled one day at the junction. True, I like some of Edward's stories, but secretly I think most of them are silly. Especially this Starlight Express one. It's not silly, protested Percy. I like
Thomas and Percy getting into an argument.
Well, he used to tell that story to me when I first came here, said Thomas. And I now think it's the most ridiculous story ever. There's nothing wrong with a good story, Thomas, put in Toby. I sometimes tell stories about my old tramway. That is because you've got nothing better to do, grumbled Thomas.
Oh.
At least I don't swank around my branch line thinking it's the most important part of the whole railway, Percy snapped. Thomas went red in the face, and it was lucky for Percy that the guard had blown his whistle for Thomas to depart with his train. As Thomas fussed out of the
Thomas
station,
and Percy
Toby
throwing
quietly
shade.
comforted the little engine. Take no notice of Thomas, he soothed. He's just overworked. I hope that's the case, said Percy.
Yeah, same with me.
As the two engines went back to work, Percy was confident that he would find the Starlight Express and prove Thomas and the other engines who didn't believe him wrong. It was lucky for Percy that on one spring evening his chance came sooner than expected.
Really?
The Fat Controller had recently organised a post-train service which would consist of vans being loaded with letters and parcels to be delivered across the island.
Oh, this is the arranged story of the post train.
And it would mean that the little green engine would be working all night long. Percy was confident at first, until... Just look at him, grunted Gordon.
Oh,
Next
the
thing
big
you'll know,
engines.
he'll be searching for one of Edward's lost stories. It's a shame, really, sympathised Henry. It's always the younger engines who get caught up in the lies and silliness of Edward's tales. Percy was cross. I love Edward's stories,
yeah,
he said.
They're cool.
And tonight, I will prove that the Starlight Express does exist. Percy stormed out.
Yeah, you tell them, Percy.
Thomas, who had been listening nearby, rolled his eyes. Gordon and Henry muttered amongst each other, and Edward remained silent. Oh, Percy, he sighed quietly. Percy worked hard well into the night. He actually enjoyed pulling the mail for the first time, and was hoping to request to the Fat Controller to pull it more often. Dawn was breaking by the time Percy had finished and was making his way back to the yard.
What's that in the distance right there?
Then, as Percy got closer to Tidmouth Station, he was surprised to see a pair of headlamps glowing in the distance. Percy stopped suddenly. Come on, Percy, urged his driver. Keep going. What's that up ahead? Percy exclaimed. His driver was about to reply when Percy suddenly started backing away. Stop! Stop! Wailed his driver. You're going the wrong way. It's the Starlight Express, Percy realised.
Really?
And it's come to see me. We must go back to the next station to greet it. Percy's driver was rather confused, but Percy had already started backing up to the next station, where he waited for the Starlight Express to pull up at the platform. Percy waited with bated breath as the headlamps got closer and closer.
It was just
He was
James.
very excited to finally meet the engine of Edward's stories. As he heard the sound of puffing, as if the engine was pulling up to the station, Percy proudly declared, "Oh, Starlight Express, welcome to Sodor."
It's not the Starlight.
Starlight Express, snapped a voice.
Oh, that's not.
Percy opened his eyes and was very surprised to find James looking smugly at him.
Oh, James! It was just James.
Percy exclaimed. What are you doing here? I thought the Starlight Express was coming. Starlight Express, my tender, snapped James. I've just returned from delivering a goods train to the other railway. Puh, you've been listening to Edward's stories for too long. Honestly. Percy was about to apologise, but James had already fussed away, muttering under his own breath at his strange experience. Even when James was long gone, Percy's face fell with disappointment. It made him want to have a word with Edward. By the time Percy returned to Tidmouth Yard, it was already full daylight. Percy saw Edward shunting trucks nearby. He puffed up to the old engine. "Hello, Percy," Edward greeted. "How was your first run with the mail?" "It was all right, thank you," said Percy. "Edward," he continued, Is there such thing as the Starlight Express? Edward pondered for a moment. I'd like to think so, he said at last. Or at least, something of the sort exists out there.
Does it?
But I'll tell you more another time. I think you need to get some rest.
Yep.
You worked hard all night, you know. Percy smiled warmly. He was just puffing away when Edward called, Percy, thank you for sticking up for me last night. And I'm also happy that you like my stories. If you'd like,
Yep.
I can tell you more. I'd like that, said Percy.
Yep.
Thank
Don't
you,
listen.
Edward.
Don't listen to any of what the other big engines have to say. Hey, your stories are always great, Edward, and sometimes they're
Percy
proven to
then
be
puffed to
true.
the sheds to get some sleep. Edward chuckled to himself. Will you ever tell Percy that it was just a musical that I saw with my children? Asked his driver.
Oh.
Edward looked back as Percy was just backing into his berth. Someday, Charlie, he replied. Someday. And smiling warmly, Edward left the yard and went back to work.
That's it. Oh wow! So it wasn't. It was. So it was just a musical. There's no really such thing as a Starlight Express. That was a play that Edward's driver obviously went to, and well, basically Edward told the engines about it and made a story about it, and Percy actually believed it. Oh dear! That this story definitely felt like a series 1/2 story. It did. Oh, that must be embarrassing. I mean, Edward will someday have to tell Percy that it was all just a musical that his driver Charlie saw. Oh, so yeah, that was actually quite a fun. That was a little bit of a fun story, final story right there. I mean, I kind of expected a bit more to be interpreted from the Starlight Express in this story, but I guess this one works. So yeah, that's a wrap on Series 3, folks, of Kiefer Adams, Thomas and Friends audio stories. What did I make of this season? I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, Kiefer has definitely come a long way with his audio stories since he started doing them back in late 2021. I mean, the amount of editing, the sound effects he adds makes it actually feel like a story from the TV series, because all of Kiefer's story fit in, to the TV series timeline they do, and some of them they just fit in so perfectly. So, Kiefer, if you're watching this, I really enjoyed this season of audio stories from you. I really love some of the creative ideas, the character pairings, and when your how you got inspiration for some of these stories. So yeah, definitely can't wait to see what series 4 of your audio stories has to offer. Hopefully we'll learn more in the coming weeks or months. I mean, we're not expecting series 4 of your audio stories, and of course the final season of them until September. So here's to the next season of audio stories. Kiefer, cheers. But what did I make of this story? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I mean, let me know in the comments down below. Have you ever heard of the Starlight Express musical, and what do you make of it? So, because I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've ever heard of it. So, and if you also want to check out any of my previous Thomas the Tank Engine reactions, whenever it's trains videos or audio adaptations like this, there's a playlist coming up in the top right hand corner of your screen right now. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button for me. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this audio story I reacted to. And also let me know in the comments down below what other videos you want me to react to next. Follow me on Instagram, links to that will be in the description down below. Share this video, subscribe if you're new here, ring that bell to get notified for when I upload new videos or when I post on the community tab, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!